you very much, Ghana. The spirit of Nkrumah is still alive. Thank you very much. chikanya. land of the beauty. This is Burundi. Today as of now. Somalia.
here to have the opportunity to read out the message addressed by the President of the Italian Republic, Sergio Mattarella, to the African ambassadors in Italy yesterday on the occasion of the celebration of the Day of Africa in Rome. I offer to all the participants of the Day of Africa the most fervent wishes for the significant anniversary which celebrates the 55th anniversary of the Constitution of the African Unit, now an African Union. The celebration coincides this year with the 100th anniversary of the birth of a great, unforgettable leader, Nelson Mandela, and therefore offers us the opportunity to reflect, as well as on the relationship between Africa and Italy, also on the meaning of the life lesson of Madiba. The civil political passion, the deep sense of justice, the brave drive towards freedom, equality, and civil rights, the tenacity are the instruments with which Mandela has defeated a political system based on segregation, nurturing the hopes of those who in Africa and the world have been beaten and fight for the respect and dignity of every human being. The life of Nelson Mandela has become an emblem of the hopes and challenges of Africa. All his political heritage transcends the African events and assumes in an era marked by interdependence between our continents an important importance for Europe and Italy. The traditional commitment of our country on the continent has its roots in the solidarity of the Republican Italy towards the struggle for independence of the African people, in an historical phase that led in 1963 to Addis Ababa, to the birth of the organization of the African Union. The challenges that African Italy share more than a half a century later, the commitment to sustainable development has changed. The need for productive investments, also in terms of training, the migration, government and management, the contrast to climate change, the fight against extremism, organized crime and trafficking in human beings. What remains unchanged is the need to create and promote a more extensive and in-depth collaboration and strategic spaces between Africa and Europe. Italy strongly believes in this collaboration, and this was demonstrated by the unprecedented intensification of opportunities for political dialogue, the qualitative increase in cooperation initiatives, the boost to investment in the African continent, and the strengthening of the commitment of civil societies, of the non-governmental organization, of religious volunteers. This is demonstrated by the Italian commitment to migration, a phenomenon of historical importance which should be governed by Africa and Europe together with foresight and the spirit of responsibility, and which has so far seen as the forefront, supporting an approach aimed at defeating the root causes of this tragedy and protecting the life and dignity of migrants. Today's celebration, for which I renew my best wishes, offers us the opportunity to make a balance of the journey taken together and to reflect on the necessary steps forward to accomplish on the road to sharing values and principles in the name of progress of Africa, of Europe, and of Italy. Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ambassador. If you can't learn one word in Somali, then how will you really say you were in Somalia once? So we should struggle to get that. Your Excellencies, I would like, first of all, on behalf of my senior colleague, the SRCC, Ambassador Madeira, who is not here, to sincerely welcome you to this very good and comfortable facility, the Anson Recreation Center. On this day of the Africa Day, on which we want to commemorate, celebrate, remember, reinvigorate the spirit, recharge, reignite, re-energize the spirit of Africanness. Viva, viva Africa! Viva, viva Africa! I want to welcome to this occasion each one of you. You are very special indeed, and therefore count yourself extremely important because we regard you as very vital to us. I would like to recognize our distinguished guest of honor from the federal government of Somalia, who is here as a member of parliament, and indeed a Secretary General of the Committee on Defense, the Honorable C.qaadir. I'd like also to recognize from the FGS, His Excellency, the CDF General, who has come in person to ensure that he can attend this function. General Abdiweli Jamal, thank you so much for coming, leading a group or delegation from Somali National Army. I'd like to recognize the presence of His Excellency Ambassador General Lucas Tumbo, who is the Ambassador of Kenya to Somalia, and who just spoke on behalf of the troop and police contributing countries. Shukran and asante sana. I would like in the same vein to really sincerely thank and welcome the Ambassador of China to Uganda, Ambassador Qin Zhang, and who made a very strong statement about the support of China to Africa, and indeed AMISOM, and I would like to say xie for really making a very, very important contribution to us. Can we say xie? Yeah, that's thank you in Chinese. I would like to welcome and thank the Ambassador of Italy to Somalia, His Excellency Carlo Campanella, who really made a very strong statement on behalf of his country, but also on behalf of the EU in general, for the contribution they have made for a long time, both in history and the current activities in Somalia. One of us, a compatriot, one of us, a partner, who's extremely very important, and one of those without whom AMISOM wouldn't be taking there. We are taking from the United Nations Fraternity, His Excellency, the Deputy SRSG, Peter de Klerk. He spoke really, he touched my heart as I was speaking, trying to touch the issues of the challenges of Somalia and how the UN system, particularly the mission here in Somalia, together with in fraternity other agencies, are working to support not only AMISOM, but the people of Somalia. I'd like to recognize the honorable ministers and members of parliament, both at the federal level and member state level, and particularly those who came from Hirshabelle and Galmudug. They are gracing this occasion. You're so much welcome. And I want to say we recognize your contribution. To you, Mahatma Sanid. Mahatma Sanid, isn't it? Well, I think my Somalis need to be polished a little more than that. I want to also welcome the representative of the EU team that is here, Colonel Renzo. I want to welcome and also indeed thank all those who have come and led delegations to this very important day. To my colleagues, the Force Commander, General Jimo Esgire, thank you so much, and your team. The Police Commissioner, Madam Christina Lalo, and your team. The Head Mission Support, Major General Vital Dudlu, who is here with the team from the mission headquarters. The heads of components and units that I may not mention individually who are here. Sector commanders who really are doing a very big job, and your team, your leadership, the commanders who are in the field there, who sleep in the cold, who bear the bite of the mosquitoes so that all of us can catch sleep. We want to thank you for really coming here personally and gracing the occasion. Before I read the statement from the African Union Commission Chairperson, whom I represent in this mission, I just want to say one point. AMISOM, together with the federal government and federal member states, are making strong headway in trying to attain the objectives of the mission in this country. We've managed not only to enter, but created space for the governance to take shape. As we speak today, African Union can proudly state that Somalia, that was stateless for decades, can now proudly talk about a federal government in place that not only confers identity to the people of Somalia, but represents Somalia both internally and externally. This had not been possible for a long time in the recent past, and AMISOM made it possible, and African Union is extremely proud, and together with the partners, that we're able to create this kind of space for both the federal government and the federal member states to be able to develop, reconstitute themselves, and they're expanding on the space of statehood, day in, day out. We're now on the last leg of transitioning the responsibilities of AMISOM to the Somali National Security Forces, including the regional forces and regional states. As we speak now, we're in advanced stages of crafting the implementation plan, and this implementation plan is going to ensure that we not only hand over the responsibilities, but we prepare and make ready those security institutions and individuals to be able to effectively and efficiently undertake those responsibilities that are currently handled and managed by AMISOM. I look forward for that day when we come here and will be welcomed by none other than the Somali themselves, when they'll be able to impose the will of the government, the will of the state of Somalia, against anybody trying to challenge the sovereignty and constitutionality of Somalia. I look forward to that, and inshallah, very soon or later, we will be really celebrating that. Allow me now to read the statement of the chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Moussa Faki Mahamat, on this occasion of the Africa Day. And as you're told, the theme is winning the fight against corruption, a sustainable path to Africa's transformation. It is dated today, 25 of May, 2018, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Quote, it reads, quote, "It gives me great pleasure to greet you on this auspicious occasion, as together we commemorate the 55th anniversary of the establishment of the Organization of African Unity, now the African Union, and pay tribute to the founding fathers and those who in the dawn of the 20th century initiated this remarkable Pan-African journey. Moved by the ideal of Pan-Africanism, all African leaders at the time gathered here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia on 25th May 1963 unanimously agreed to create the OAU, to which they assigned three key functions. The first one, the liberation of African countries and the peoples from the colonial and racial discrimination. And secondly, the achievement of self-reliance and combating of underdevelopment. And lastly, the advancement of African integration, unity, and solidarity. Much criticism has been leveled against Organization of African Unity, and sometimes rightly so. But as Africans, it is also incumbent upon us to recognize that the OAU survived the enormous challenges, both from within and from without the continent, which actually threatened the very essence of our continental authority existence. Yes, the OAU survived the legacy of the many divisions inherited from the foreign domination and meddling, as well as the challenges arising from the Cold War. It persevered in the quest of continental unity and solidarity, and it made an outstanding contribution to the fight against colonialism and racial discrimination. The OAU served as a platform to generations of African leaders on global affairs, and through them, it made significant contribution to elaboration of international norms and governing of the world today. Least but not least, the OAU initiated the continental instruments that set Africa's march towards democracy, greater accountability, faster development, and deeper integration. Those became the core foundations of the Organization of African Union that transformed itself into AU as we know it today. The launch of the African Union AU in 2002 was a testimony to the determination of our leaders to expedite the achievement of continental unity and to find homegrown solutions to the challenges at hand. It also marked an acute awareness of the need to more actively involve you, fellow Africans, in the management of the business of the AU. The unity and integration agenda is a collective ambition. Its realization requires, therefore, the involvement of all Africans. Since its advent, the AU has achieved a number of milestones. This year, we witnessed the launching of the single African air transport market, as well as the signing of the African Continental Free Trade Area and the Protocol on Free Movement of Persons and the African Passport. In the area of peace, security, and governance, the African Union has demonstrated undeniable proactiveness. In different parts of the continent, African uniformed personnel are deployed in combat against terrorism, restoration of security, and have helped to create basic conditions for sustainable peace and reconciliation. Equally, sustained efforts are those of deployed forces in areas of prevention and mediation. Democracy and human rights are progressively taking root on the continent, and despite setbacks and difficulties, as we all know. On the ground, the African Union is making a tangible contribution to the improvement of livelihoods of the African people and the development of the member states. We should take pride in this achievement, but let us remain vigilant and conscious that much still needs to be done to overcome the obstacles that could derail this hard-won progress. Central to the work ahead is the fight against corruption in all its forms. Corruption destroys lives of ordinary people and undermines their trust in their leaders and public institutions. Resources that are needed for development and delivery of services such as electricity, education, healthcare, sanitation, clean water are diverted by a few, thus depriving the majority of the people from access to these critical services. African leaders have declared the 11th of July every year as an African Anti-Corruption Day, and the year 2018 as the year of combating corruption under the theme, Winning the Fight Against Corruption, a Sustainable Path to Africa's Transformation. During their summit in January this year, they also adopted a call to action to fight against corruption and eradicate it all. I want to challenge all of us, leaders and Africans from all walks of life, to firmly deal with this scourge. Let me reiterate my faith to the future of the Union and our beloved continent. Despite the global downturn, several African countries are among the world's fastest growing economies. The fight against climate change has been raised to the new heights. Food production, food safety, The judicious use of our natural resources and industrialization are also receiving serious attention. Robust efforts are being made to create opportunities that the youth need to fulfill their aspirations. Gender equality, women empowerment are also a central element in our efforts. Measures to deal with diseases, pandemics are in place with the establishment of relevant institutions. Coordinated integration is being vigorously pursued. So is the objective of ensuring that Africans speak with one voice on the international stage, especially in the current context marked by increasing threats against multilateralism. In parallel, a far-reaching institutional reform process is underway to ensure that our union is fit for purpose and financially autonomous. As we celebrate Africa Day, let's, as African women and men, youth and old, in the continent and the African diaspora, rededicate ourselves to the realization of the African Union vision of an integrated, prosperous and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the international arena. Happy celebrations to you all. End quotes. Viva, viva Africa! Viva. We say viva, viva, viva Africa! Viva. I would like, in my official capacity and personal capacity on behalf of AMISOM leadership, to really thank not only your presence and participation on this day, but to promise that we need to break our fast together this evening. We shall break our fast together here and be able to continue the celebration until even after midnight. So do not just tire out. I've been told that things have been organized in plenty for purposes of attaining this objective. It is strategic, operational, and tactical, so do not just go away. I would like to thank those who made presentations in terms of art, drama, and music. I wish next time we make this more competitive. We make it competitive and maybe present prizes. And we could have a desk of educators to tell us who is the best dancer, the best musician, the best that and that, and make Africa shine more and more. I really want to thank the Somali group that really opened and closed with a Danto folk dance. The Danto folk dance was really important. Thank you so much. Mahat Sanid. Mahat Sanid. And I want to thank the Nigerian group when they brought in the Igbo group, the Igbo dance. You know, in Nigeria, you either dance the northern dance, where the Hausa and others come from the north, or you dance the Igbo, or you dance the, which one? The Yoruba, and others. But this one brought in the Igwe, and I felt like an Igwe being danced for. And there's also the Bobo from the Volta region from Ghana. Idasi, thank you so much. You really did good for really showing us that the Bobo can be another dance for us to emulate. And from Uganda, I witnessed some people from eastern Uganda and northern Uganda. They danced the Gishu Kadori dance, and another dance from the Luo, the Choli dance, trying to signify the warriors who are not only tall, but towering as well. And I also want to thank Kenyans when they came in with the Maasai dance. I was shouting Yero, but they could not listen to me. And then the climax started with the Kalenjin Dan. Kongoi Kamsa, you did well in dancing the Kalenjin dance that really shows that you're true African indeed. I want to thank each one of us for this evening, and thank you, MC, for the MC is telling me that I have exhausted all those who danced, because I asked him if there is anybody else too that I left out. Burundi, Burundi. Thank you so much. Murakoze cyane Burundi. Thank you so much. We're so grateful for Burundi. Don't kill me for leaving out. Your Excellency, Ambassador of China, I come from Uganda. And when I said Ambassador of China, I forgot to say Ambassador of China to Uganda. But everybody knows you're Ambassador of China here. So thank you so much. With these very many words, may I now take this chance to invite the...
Welcome all guests, His Excellency Deputy Head of AMISOM, His Excellency Deputy UN Secretary General, His Excellency Ambassadors who are here today and Head of Missions, the Force Commander of AMISOM, General Jim, the Somali National Army, CDF, General Gorat, and all guests who are here today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much. Today, we are celebrating an African Day. It was this day 55 years ago that one organization of African Union was founded. My country, Somalia, was one of the founding members of Organization of African Union. As federal government of Somalia, we were part of the founding members. And you know, before I begin my speech, I want to take this opportunity to thank the TCC countries and AMISOM for the blood you shed so that Somalia can stand on feet. A grateful nation will always thank those who you helped us. Thank you very much, AMISOM. And also, I cannot forget the sacrifice the Somali National Army made. We are rebuilding our Somali National Army. We are very proud of it. They are rebuilding, we are rebuilding process. And Somalia, as you know that, you are returning the favor. When we were the founding member of our Organization of African Union, our country took a part in the struggle of freedom, many countries in Africa. And today, you came back and you're serving our nation. I know the situation is not what we wanted, but also we are grateful. Thank you so much. The theme of this year is ending and fighting corruption. The federal government of Somalia is actively engaging in fighting for ending of corruption. You know that this government, especially in this parliament second session, it was the first time that we passed the budget on timely manner. We passed the budget on time. Before, every time the budget was presented to us, it will go through the next cycle. So we are very proud on that we passed the budget on time. And also, under the leadership of His Excellency Hassan Ali Khairi, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Somalia, the Staff Monitoring Program, SP3, Somalia is putting in place a mechanism to fight corruption. We are really in a process right now of debt relief. And Somalia can once again establish its currency. Because we believe that corruption is the root cause of all the problems. And the federal government of Somalia, and you know the parliament, has the oversight responsibility. Corruption is number one. We are fighting it, and hopefully we are joining our African brothers on this theme of this year's call to end corruption in all forms. On behalf of the government of Somalia, again, we are very grateful that this day we are remembering, is also paying tribute our forefathers in Africa. When our Organization of African Union was founded, they had a dream that Africa can be great again. Africa it has the huge potential of resources. To develop and to tap that resources, it takes the time and energy. And it's responsibility of a citizen as Africans. We need to realize that put an agenda, putting the people first. As the politicians, we need to put people first, serving a constituencies and also serving the people instead of the people serving us. So this, we are committed on this, serving our people and moving Somalia forward. Somalia, you have a partner, all your excellencies are here today. Our federal government is really committed, working with you to ensure that Somalia can again take its own rightful place among the nations. Again, it's very important that we always remember those who before us, because they had a dream. Their dream was Africa strong, stable, and prosperous. Africa where there is a trade, people, freedom movement, people moving freely. That's the dream that our forefathers has. So today, that responsibility is with us today. We have to make sure, though, we need to address the global challenges that Africa is part of it and we are facing. And that is terrorism, and also corruption, and also ending gender equity. We have to make sure that we empower our women. That's very important. A society that empowers its women is a society that is strong. So we are also committed in the Somali federal government to empower our women. And also on this theme, I want to again take this opportunity to thank the TCC countries. You have a partner. Somalia is a partner, is a willing partner, and ready to work with you to ensure that the day you are no longer here will be ending soon. We are also, as you know, that Somalia, our government, we are in the process of making the transition plan. The transition plan is a process that's making sure our armed forces take responsibility of Somalia. So you can go home with your head high. But we are always grateful to AMISOM and to TCC countries because you sacrificed a lot, and we are always aware of it. I want you to hear from us directly from federal government of Somalia. I know many times we may not hear of it, but we are a very grateful nation. Somalia is rebuilding. Somalia is moving forward. We are working a reconciliation process, a political inclusivity that all Somalis are coming together. And also you know that we also had a big convention, successful convention of reviewing the constitution. All these things are taking place. As you can see, Somalia is again shining star. And that cannot be happen without your help. So you know that the theme in 2007 was what we call African problem, African solution. And that was AMISOM responded. So we know that the history of that African problem, African solution. So everything must be African centric. And that's the thing I believe strongly. Again, on behalf of federal government of Somalia, thank you so much. I would like to speak my language because we have a huge audience to address. Thank you very much. Give me. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. runtii sharaf weyn waxaan u maanta inaan halkan ka soo qayb galnay kontonishan guuradii ka soo wareegtay markii la aasaasay ururka African Union. dalkeena Soomaaliya waxa uu ka mid ahaa dalalkii helay 1963 wadamadii aasaasay ayuu ka mid ahaa, founding members ayuu ka mid ahaa. waxaa runtii naxdin leh annagii oo ahayn wadamadii African Union ki helay in maanta walaalaheen oo AMISOM ee ciidamo noo soo diray annagana kala wardiyeeyaan. waa runtii waxa loo baahan yahay laakiin uga mahad celinaynaa, laakiin taas waxay tusaysaa waxay tahay ummadda Soomaaliyeed inaan dib u soo celino sharafteena iyo cizzigeena lagu yaqaan ee libaaxyada Afrikana loogu aqoon jiray. taasna waxaan ku soo ceshan karnaa kaliya waxa weeye inaan xasuusnaano hadda Soomaaliya wax weyn ayaa noo socda. si aad la socotiin xukuumadda iyo baarlamaanku hadda wada shaqayn fiican ayay leeyihiin. staff monitor programka hadda spring meeting ugu dambeeyay Washington DC Soomaaliya waxay u dhowdahay in laga cafiyo deynta lagu leeyahay. Soomaaliya hadda waxay u dhowdahay in mataqaanaa lacagteena dib aan u soo daabacano. waxaas lama gaarin haddaan nabad la helin. wax walba waxaa saldhig u ah nabad ayaa saldhig u ah. nabadana waxaan looga baahan yahay, anagana looga baahan yahay. waxaan rajayn doonaa sanada soo socda inaysan jiri doonin insha Allahu tacaala inaan u baahnaano ciidamo shisheeye oo dalkeena loo waardiyeynaya, inaan ciidamadeena Soomaaliyeed oo nagala joogo commander CDF nagala joogo General Gorod oo hadda ku socdaan qorshaha dib ula wareegi doonaan qorshaha kala guurka ee dib ula wareegi doonaan amniga dalkeena Soomaaliyeed ee awood u yeelan doonaan inay dhismi doonaan Ilaahay. taasna waxaa lagu gaari karaa kaliya annaga oo waxa naga dhaxeeyay waxa naga dhaxeeyay waxa way Soomaalinimada. dalkeena aan isku dhawaanshihiisa aan ka shaqaysiino, dalkeena dib u dhisano. maalintan muhiimadda ay leedahay sanadkaanna teamka ama loolada dalna wuxuu ahaa in corruption la dagaalamo. dowladda Soomaaliya waxa ay ka go'an tahay in la dhameystiro oo la ciribtiro musuqmaasuqa. musuqmaasuqna waxaan ku ciribtiro doonaa maadaama annaga baarlamaanka nahay, annaga ayaa korjoogteynta iska leh inaan la xisaabtano xukuumadda oo markii miisaan soo diraan inay hubiyaan wax walba sidii loogu talagalay loogu qarashgareeyo. aad iyo aad ayay sharaf noogu tahay inaan maalinta kaga qayb galno sanadguuradan kontinashanaad maalintii African Unionka la aasaasay. aad baa umahadsantihiin. On behalf of Federal Government of Somalia, we wish successful Africa Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Sadiq Wafa.
You have a... Where is the knife? Where is the knife? And congratulations, John. You have it. Congratulations, message. Congratulations, message. Congratulations. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you.
Wow.
And congratulations. We go back.
And we have the anthem. Earlier. We are having the anthem.